Pode pôr o vídeo? So we're live again. I'm sorry for that.
If someone asks you, what is Kung Fu? Then the answer is, Kung Fu is life. Another question, what is the Kung Fu life used for? Kung Fu life used for teaching, for developing the art, developing the system. The nature is, I teach you Kung Fu or you learn your Kung Fu without knowing when you pick it up. Same way like you learn how to speak. So I was with Iman. You Sifu now with me. You will be Sifu. So only the time different, but you are in the life of Kung Fu. So when I come back home or go away somewhere by myself, then I think about. The guy asked a question like that. Then he said, "Do you think it would?" Then I have to use my own brain to figure it out, use my own knowledge to figure it out. You have to pick it up at any time. Then anytime you could use it. You learn it in the morning, you learn it from afternoon, late at night. Then anytime happen, you could use the technique. So you say, that's Kung Fu. Yeah, that's Kung Fu. If you say there's nothing to do with Kung Fu, and there's nothing to do with Kung Fu, that's the way how I learn my Kung Fu. So that's why I surprise a lot of people and say, "Hey, Moy Yat, you teach Kung Fu?" I said, "Yes, I do." "You're always in the tea house, you're always walking around, you know." "Yeah, I don't have to teach." "Then who teach?" "I teach." No one teach for me. I teach, and they say, "You don't have to teach." "Yeah, I don't have to teach, and I teach." See, make people confused. They don't understand. They don't know why. But that I just told them the truth. That's the true way. That's my way. If pure Wing Chun, don't say nothing, don't move nothing, just the punch out, just like that. Here, punch. That's Wing Chun. Thank you. That's it. Actually, not too many people could understand. Okay, the nature of Wing Chun Kung Fu, you have to learn it like without any form, no method to learn it. After you know the nature of Wing Chun Kung Fu, the nature of Wing Chun Kung Fu is absolutely free and natural. And the style, the way I teach, I try my best to provide more Kung Fu life to my students, grand students. So if you're smart enough, if you understand more about, you respect the Kung Fu life, then you will come and stay, share the time with me, then you will get more Kung Fu life.
Okay. I always get emotions when I see this video. This video was made by Senior Master Washington Fonseca. I would like to acknowledge that. And
Yes.
it was presented last year in the same date in New York. It was the launching of this video, but
It's a great
As
video. Very nice video.
yes, it's a very video. I also get emotions when I see this video. So let's continue for some questions that arrived directed to Grandmaster William.
Sure, sure.
So why is the institute named Moy Yat rather than Ip Man Institute?
Okay. First of all, want to acknowledge that. Sorry for the technical difficulty. Hopefully, you guys come back to this link. Yes. Why is it called Moy Yat? Because for us, we're the generation that learned from him, and directly from him, and we represent his kung fu. And so rather than using skipping a generation ahead to Yip Man, we're using our own sifu. That's the main idea.
Okay, thank you, Sipak. One more question here. How was the Moy Yat lineage perception of the institute abroad at the time of its foundation, 6 years ago?
It was great. When you're talking about abroad here in U.S. with my Kung Fu brothers, everybody liked the idea, full support. Like what we mentioned earlier, people have submitted and contribute more material to the Institute, which we're very happy about. I think the idea is that we're all together in preserving my father's legacy.
Great to hear that. And why was São Paulo City chosen as the host of the first Moy Yat Institute?
Well, that's like the idea is to start out with like a prototype, right? To work it out, see how it would go, and generously enough that Grandmaster Leo suggested that to have it in his place, which was great. It was a great kind of contribution donation to use the place in Sao Paulo. So we're very happy about that. Before we go further, as I was watching the video, I also want to acknowledge, this is the Patriarch Moy Yat's birthday celebration. But, if my father was here, he will also thank, the matriarch, the leader of the family now is Madam Helen Moy. He would always acknowledge her support and of the Kung Fu and also of him. So I just want to acknowledge that, that's important to give the thanks also to matriarch Helen Moy.
Perfect, Sipak. One more question here.
Yeah.
What is the significance of valuing the figure of Patriarch Moy Yat within the context of Wing Chun practice?
Could you say that earlier again to repeat I didn't hear all of that. I'm sorry.
What is the significance of valuing the figure of the Patriarch within the context of Wing Chun practice?
You say honoring him as a figure?
Yes.
Okay. Well, to us, he is the bridge to the past, and when he taught us how Kung Fu and teach us the system, it was not. He's not concentrating on him, kind of like no ego. Whenever he taught the Kung Fu, he always references back as from the Grandmasters, and he dedicated his life to that as the bridge to the past. He didn't make up his own, come up with his own idea, his own techniques. He was very clear on teaching the ideas from the Grandmasters from the past to the next generation. So, and also he dedicated a lot of time to that. So that was very thoughtful on his end to do that. A lot of time, a lot of energy to get the Kung Fu from the past and able to give it to us unselfishly. So we want to honor him because of that.
Perfect, Sipak. When the idea of the institute was first proposed, the discussions between you and Grandmaster Leo, what was that like? What was, you had it all clear? Do you have it already clear? What is the institute's propositions, and um, what do you think we gotta come through for the next years, decades, and generations?
Sure. As you know, we're still building and building and trying to make it stronger and stronger. You know, actually, one of the main things that was difficult is that you know, right after, you know, we started, the COVID hit, you know, COVID-19, and that kind of changed everything, how we thought about things, especially a lot of the sifus and how you know, how teachers taught kung fu. You know, when we first thought about the idea is that, you know, we you know, me and Grandmaster Leo, we always had a close relationship, and we always kind of thought the same way. We always had our values aligned pretty close, you know. So the main thing was, you know, to preserve the kung fu for next generation, you know. So coming together was relatively easy, but we had a lot of conversations about, you know, what different directions, how we could go about it. But we were pretty much together in the same direction, you know. But also, yeah, the challenge is how do we move forward with this platform, with this institute, you know. And we're going to always be changing, you know, adapting. You know, like I mentioned, COVID-19 was difficult. But now we're doing a lot more stuff online with videos. And I think that will be probably something very important to us in the future, doing stuff online through videos.
Perfect, Sipak. Always adapting. I'm sure that we will always be changing. I believe the institute in some years from now would be totally different. Let's see.
Absolutely.
Let's see how it goes. We will adapt. We will adapt.
Absolutely.
One like personal question here. What went through your mind when you first visited the institute 6 years ago, Sipak, for the opening?
Well, of course, you know, just getting into Sao Paulo, I was happy, right?
I'm glad to hear that.
Because, you know, like we mentioned earlier, I missed the flight. You know, that was rough. That was rough. Getting there was nice. Every time I visit Brazil, your Sifu and your family always welcome me so well. It was just happy, you know, happy to see a place dedicated to my father's legacy, you know. So I was just very happy, excited. I remember, you know, it was just a lot of people. It was very festive, and also got to see, of course, your Sifu Leo, and also got to see Sifu John Zhang. So it was nice. But very happy, and also just very impressed how you guys pull off the festivities and the grand opening. It was a very nice, very nice moment.
Good to hear that. I have a few more questions related to the life of the patriarch,
Sure.
if I may. So here, how did Sitai Kun begin his teaching when he came to America? How did people get to know that Sitai Kun was a Sifu? What he? I mean, I believe that the person that proposed the question asked this because he had already a fame in Hong Kong, but not in U.S. and
Yes.
he just arrived. How was that beginning?
You know, I was young, but I would imagine it's difficult, you know, uprooting your family, moving to another country, different language, country he had never been to, from Hong Kong to New York was difficult, you know. He had 3 kids to worry about, 3 children to worry about. You know, my mother, his wife, and also his mother was along. came along. So a lot of people to depend on. He had to, depend on him. So I would imagine there was a lot of pressure. So the story goes that my uncle was the main person that sponsored our family to come over. So actually, Moy Dean, he actually did a lot for our family. He set up our apartment. He got us an apartment, bought us some furniture, some mattress, some bed. He helped really set up us a lot. Really helped us a lot, and so great help to us. And but starting kung fu, it also go back to my uncle. My uncle was gonna pick us up from an airport, and he had a friend, which is my older kung fu brother, Douglas Lee, was a friend of his, and they were together. And my uncle told Si Heng Douglas that he's gonna pick up his brother, and the conversation was around kung fu. And Douglas said he was doing kung fu and he liked kung fu. And then my uncle say, hey, my brother's coming here. He's a kung fu teacher, a kung fu master. So Douglas was very, very happy. So he helped to pick up our family, pick us up, and he became one of the early students that really helped us out a lot. With the translating of English, and also support us a lot in New York. So it built from there. And Douglas brought in other students, and there was slowly but gradually my father started acquiring students, and there's a small group started out in the seeds of Moy Yat Wing Chun Kung Fu was planted in Brooklyn, an area. It's Parkside, right by Prospect Park in Brooklyn. It was a kung fu school in an apartment building where people started to train. But it's slow, but he got it going. But it was a lot of help with the early students, my older kung fu brothers. Helping with the school, helping with the class, and also mainly helping a lot with the translation of English. But slowly but surely, kept on building, and father stuck with teaching for, kept on teaching, and then grew, and it got bigger and bigger.
And because of that, we're all here now. That's nice. Yeah.
Humble beginnings, definitely humble beginnings.
Yeah. Baby steps, and that we get there.
Yeah.
How back there? How did the Patriarch students make an approach to get more Kung Fu life with him?
Sure.
I'm not sure there was a proper recipe for that, but what would be the approach they used to go with?
Sure. My father started teaching in the 70s. And back in the 70s, Kung Fu was not as popular now, of course. The martial arts that were more popular was karate and judo and stuff like that. Back then, not many people taught Kung Fu, or many people even heard of Kung Fu. So I would imagine, students, started to learn from my father. They didn't know what Kung Fu was to begin with, and also, how he would teach it. So his approach was to do Kung Fu life, just to spend time with him. But what I remember is that from stories that my father's early class, he would teach Kung Fu, and after class was over, they would all spend time together after class, doing like a late meal, after training, go out, have break bread together, have meal together, and spend a lot of time. And they were like, talking Kung Fu and talking about what you have learned, and just talking about Kung Fu all night, and it's like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, and then people have to go to work, go to school, and start all over again. And But he was available at the school, all the time, and people would come in, and he would just share time with them. So I think the approach was that it was not like a set time, from this time to this time, class is over, see you guys, whoever had time, had the availabilities and stuck around, they would spend time together. Usually go out to have meals together. And even also people that had time during the day, if they're students or if they work at night, they would visit the school. My father would be there, and they'll all learn and spend time do kung fu then. So it was nothing forced. It was just kind of you capture him, like you catch him at the school, you spend time with him, and you learn. That's basically the process he used. And even like from many, many years on, same process. You go to Chinatown, Manhattan, and you find him in school, and you learn from him. It could be in the afternoon, it could be early in the morning, and of course at night you have class. But even after night, you get to catch up with him, and then you learn. That's how he taught.
Perfect, perfect. We can set up a whole life for talking about Kung Fu life. I believe it's not a creation of him. I have several discussions of that with my Sifu, and it even older than Wing Chun system, the Kung Fu life process. But it's a whole conversation.
And also it was not forced. You had time, you spend it with him. You didn't have time, you go tend to your business. There was nothing forced. It's just very natural. And some people are smart. They knew my father's routine. He would have lunch at this time. He needed to do this at this time, and they'll work the schedule around it and kind of meet up with him at lunchtime. Or after certain things he had to take care of, they'll meet up. So nothing forced. Very, very natural, very organic. Spend time with him.
Perfect, Sipak. I believe one final question before we open to the public, if they have any questions for the one that's following us live. There's one more here. When a secondary school was appropriate to open, what steps did the Patriarch take? What was done differently than before when he was in Hong Kong? I don't know the second part of the question, but let's take with the first.
Sure.
Stick with the first part. So what was appropriate to open a new school?
You mean I can only speak so much about Hong Kong. When I was Hong Kong, I was a young kid, but I believe the process is probably the same. It always starts with the beginning. The student learns the first form, Sinian Tao, and the third. As you start to learn, my father paid close attention to you, and make sure you got each form correctly. And it took time, years, and then he will observe you, watch you, train you, and then you go on through the system, wind dummy, the weapons, and so on, and then he really observe you. So when the time is right, there'll be a discussion and conversations about teaching, and of course, you will have the different levels, the whole Kung Fu system under your belt completed, under his supervision, and he checked everything. And then we talk about teaching, and then you also talk about representing the family. And then one of the things we have in our family is the Jiu Pai, the sign. So you will get to acquire the sign, and then from there you will have a ceremony to open up your school. But it's a process from day one if you're going to start to teach, and he'll observe you, and he will know, he will watch and see you progress and help you if that's your goal, that you want to become a Sifu, especially a lot of my Kung Fu brothers that came from abroad. Their intentions are very clear in the beginning that they wanted to teach. So he would give those students the emphasis in that, really check and for that goal, But it will be a process, and he will check and make sure you qualify, and then you will start to open up your school and represent my father's kung fu under him.
Perfect, CPAC. Perfect, Grandmaster William. Perfect. I'm trying to use different vocatives here. It's different to call you different. But well, before we finish, we're coming to an end. I saw Sifu praising me and thanking me, but I would be nothing without your support, CPAC, Grandmaster William Moy. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And I also would like to acknowledge our staff,
Sure.
the former president, Albert Holzhacker, our nowadays staff, our vice president, Felipe Soares, our secretary, senior master Rodrigo Giarola, our treasurer, senior master Herbert Moraes, people responsible for gathering all the materials and analyzing that and making it happen. Master Paulo and Master Gabriel Mendes, who are responsible for the memory room we have there, is like a small museum you visit. People that are in the backstage, like now, Vinicius Valverde, with practitioner. Thank you very much. And I would like to invite everybody to help us as you can by joining the platform, by sending us material, by sending us questions, by inviting us to participate, by saying how interested you are in anything, and the institute will make it happen. We work a lot. We have a lot to do. We have a lot to do, and if anyone can help, you make part of it. Okay, so I'll pass to you. Just before passing to you the final words, I would like to acknowledge you. There's a small video of my CPAC Grandmaster Sunny Tang that would like to come with up. I'll ask Vinicius to put it up. Pode pôr, Vinícius, o vídeo do Sunny, por favor.
I'm now in hi everyone. I'm now in Bolivia for the workshop with Leo. I hope every one of you have a good day and make a good memory for our civil. Pray for me. Thank you. See you sometime.
So that's it. Thank you very much, also Grandmaster Sanitan, my CPAC, and I'll leave you for the final words. CPAC William, Grandmaster William Moy, please.
Thank you, Pablo. Thank you, and thank you for sending that message. He's always been working hard in behalf of our family in spreading the Wing Chun. I also want to mention a little bit more about the institute. We're trying to make this a destination for Moy Yat Kung Fu, his legacy, and a place where we have a lot of resource. That if you want to learn more about my father's teaching and his Kung Fu, this is a place to go. Like I say again, we're building, trying to make it stronger and stronger. And yeah, please join us. Also, I also want to, celebrate my father's birthday. Celebrate the man. My father, my teacher, gave me so much. That I could help my students with and help myself with. The Kung Fu. Great system Wing Chun. So yes, he's done so much for me and also for others. Yeah, and yes, happy birthday to my father. And yes, thank you for everybody joining and watching us. Until next time.
See you next time. Thank you very much, CPAC. That's it.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye, guys.